In the previous videos, the circuit, at least this part of the circuit, wasn't very clear. So if something isn't working on the circuit, the first thing is to make sure that the power is connected and that when you press this, the green LED turns on. You want all of these pins to be in the correct columns. The next thing is to check this area right here. So if we look at the actual switches, we can see that we have two wires leaving the switch. We have one from leaving the first switch and then one leaving the second switch. And then right above those two, we have these two lines that are going to terminate into one of the power rails. The first line is going to be perpendicular with this one up here. And then the second wire right here is going to be perpendicular with this wire, the second one up here. This first wire should be in a column all by itself. So if we look really closely here, we can see that there's nothing in this column as we go up here. The only thing in it is the start of this resistor, and that's just to connect this resistor. Make sure the resistor is connected to whatever of these switches that you're using. So that is how the left side will look. The next thing is that you want to make sure all of these blue wires are connected from the last leg of the gate into the power rail, and then same thing on this side, except we're going to be connected to the first gate and then to the power rail. And you want to make sure when you have all of your gates connected, or any of the gates connected if you're just using one, that you have this little notch facing this way towards the switches. So you want to make sure it's facing towards the switches, and when you're demoing the lab, you want to make sure that you know which of these are which. So after that, you just want to make sure your connections are in the proper order. So the first one will connect to the first one, and then it'll go all the way to the LED bar. At the LED bar, you want to make sure that all of your wires are terminating into different LEDs. So mine look like this. These two right here after the first two won't light up, and these back two won't light up for the same reason, and it's because both of them, nothing is terminating inside of them. So that's how that looks. The last thing that could be wrong, other than the wiring, is I mean, it gets a little tricky in the middle part. There's a lot of wires here, so you just want to make sure everything is lined up properly and everything is connected correctly. So double check your wiring, and also look over and just look at the connections and kind of think where the current is actually flowing through the wires. Lastly, this last part right here, this wire needs to be connected from the power rail into this middle of the breadboard, and then this other wire right here that goes across the breadboard needs to be in the same column, and this resistor needs to start in the same column and go this way. So that is troubleshooting for this breadboard. Super important to check the connections and make sure everything is going across if everything else is lined up correctly.